Our guest today is one of the most savage fighters in the UFC. He has knocked out his opponents 11 times. He submitted his opponents 6 times. He is the number 10 ranked UFC welterweight contender. Please welcome Vicente the Silent Assassin Luque, everybody. What's up, Vicente? How are you? And thanks for joining the show. And please say hi to your Korean fans.
Yeah, hi, and hi everybody from Korea. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, it's great to be here.
I've asked Jan Blachowicz this question. I have asked Gilbert Burns this question. But I gotta ask the same question to you as well. How's your life during this pandemic?
Man, yeah, it's difficult time for sure. I've been keeping as safe as I can at home, especially here in Brazil, with my family. I made sure that I was going to be near my family, my wife, my mother lives here also. So just staying around, making sure that they're all taken care of, trying to stay most away from everything, staying at home a lot and training. That's all I do besides being at home is train so that I can, put on a good performance when it's fight time. But overall, it is a difficult time, and I'm blessed to be able to do what I do, to be able to fight in this time. For me, it's a blessing.
So, except when you were having a training camp, you live in Brazil?
Yes. And for my both training camps for this year, I had them all here in Brazil.
Oh, so you didn't train with guys like Henry Hooft?
In this year, I was there in the beginning. I went there in April. I'm pretty sure, it was April, I believe. I went there to have some training. I was there for a week, not longer than that, because I was supposed to fight April 18. Then I came back to Brazil after that, and I was scheduled to fight May 9. For all my training camp for May 9, I trained here in Brazil in Cerrado MMA. Same thing for my fight now against Randy Brown. But we're always in touch. My coach here, Daniel, he's always in touch with Henry, and they both have a really good relationship. So even though I wasn't there with Henry training, he was always watching my trainings. I would send him sparring videos, and he's always, connected to me to make sure that I am, looking good. As well as Daniel, whenever I train in Florida, my coach here from Brazil also does the same thing, watches my training over there in Florida.
Interesting. One thing that was really surprising to me was that you've got the best English out of all the Brazilian fighters in UFC, and then I found out that you were actually born in Westwood, New Jersey. So your mother is a Brazilian, your father is a Chilean, and then you were born in America. So do you speak all English, Portuguese, and Spanish?
Yes, I do. I speak the 3 languages. And for me, that was really helpful because I can connect with more people, with more fans. And yeah, since I'm a kid, I spoke Portuguese to my mom, Spanish to my father, and I learned English in the U.S. I lived there until I was 6 years old. After that, my mom and my dad got divorced, so I moved back to Brazil with her. I grew up in Brazil. I still live here nowadays. But I've always had a really good relationship with my father. He still lives in New Jersey, so I would always visit him, and that's why I kept the English. Once we came over here, me and my mom, we decided only to speak English so I wouldn't forget, because she learned English in the U.S., and we just, until this day, we only speak in English so I wouldn't forget, and it worked out for me.
Okay. So I'll be honest, Vicente, when I saw you for the first time in the octagon, I thought you were a very scary guy. You knock people out viciously and you look like a cold-blooded killer. But then I saw your interviews and you were all smiles and very kind. And it turned out you were actually a very nice guy. And you also have this project called the Silent Project, where you help communities, children and teenagers with your wife. And could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's a project we started now in the social media just to show a little bit of the work, but it's something we have always, me and my wife, we always had this idea. It's really important to help children and teenagers because they are growing up, and it's a moment in life where you're going to develop your values and what you want to be in the future. And I think that's a really important moment. It was for me growing up. I think martial arts helped me out a lot with that. So anything that we can, me and my wife, we can help them with. In this time of the pandemic, we knew about a lot of communities here that were struggling to even make money to buy food. So we try to help them with that. But before the pandemic, we went to public schools and I talked to the kids, try to motivate them into following their dreams, into having discipline. Whenever you want to achieve a goal, you got to have that discipline to work a little bit towards it every day. So it's mostly, we want to encourage other people to do the same kind of things, to pay attention to children, teenagers, make sure that they have what they need so that they can grow up into, great adults in the future.
So how do you manage all these schedules? Like you have to be a husband, you have to be a owner of your dog, you have to be a UFC fighter, and you help those kids and communities. So you must be very busy.
Yeah, it is. It is quite busy, but at the same time, I think that kind of boosts my motivation whenever I'm training, whenever I'm going to camp. All that I do, like in the spare time, motivates me to go harder in training, go harder in the fight. So I just feel it's like fuel. So definitely, I'm able to kind of separate things well. Whenever I have a fight coming up, I focus on training. That's the moment where I'm 100% training camp, fight, diet for the fight, everything. But once I fight, that kind of vacation times I take after that, I try to rest, still train a little bit, especially technical aspects so that I can improve. And that's when I, take time for my projects, for the things I want to do outside of fighting. And it works out for me. It's busy sometimes, but it's not bad. It's a lot of blessings. So I'm happy to do it.
Okay. So first of all, congratulations on your dominant victory over Randy Brown. I think you pretty much cleared out all the top 20 guys. And has UFC offered you a fight after your win over Randy Brown, or is it too early for a next fight?
They have not offered me a fight yet, but I let my manager Ali know that I want to get back in there. Kind of December would be the ideal for me. I wanted to have 3 fights this year, and I have 2 already. I feel good. I feel healthy. So probably next week I'm gonna get right back into training. So I think December makes sense, especially because now I'm looking forward to get a top guy. I want to get somebody in the top 15, even in the top 10 would be great. So I want to have a great training camp for that. So I think December makes sense for me. I have enough time to rest, to get a great training camp and get there 100%.
Okay, the way I would describe your fighting style would be technical and yet extremely violent. I say this because there are a lot of fighters who are very technical but kind of boring, and there are a lot of fighters who are very extremely violent but are lacking in the technical department. So I think you have this great balance between technique and aggressiveness. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I definitely agree because I've always enjoyed a lot the technique of every single martial art, be it on the ground, on wrestling is something that I'm training a lot, and each time I have more technique in wrestling. And striking, which is my home, I've always loved striking. Is what I've done since I'm a little kid. So I enjoy a lot of this side, of the technique. I try to improve every time, but my style is aggressive. I'm an aggressive fighter. When I'm in there, I have fun, and the way I have fun is, hitting the other guy as hard as I can, and realize that I'm okay. I'm punishing him. I'm making him, give up of the fight. That's something that I enjoy during the fight. I want to see the guy kind of, I want to dominate the guy. I want to dominate my opponent, and that's aggressive. That's my style. I go in there and try to pressure him, but I never put aside the technique. So I think, it's a good description. I'm able to balance a little bit of technique with a little bit of aggression and put on, an entertaining fight.
So you mentioned you like to hit your opponent as hard as you can. Have you ever tested your punching power at the UFC Performance Institute?
I tested it out when it was just open. I think that was maybe 3 years ago. I don't think I was up there with the hardest hitters, but I hit pretty hard. But at the same time, I never went there full power. I'm kind of afraid of hurting my hands whenever I don't have good wraps. So I like to really wrap my hands really well to train, to spar, whatever. So there I just had gloves with no wraps. So I was kind of a little bit, I don't want to hurt my hand over here. I'm not trying to compete to see who's the strongest hitter. And I something I think a lot is I know I can hit people clean. So maybe I don't need that much power to get them out because whenever I hit them clean, they're going to go out. So I think the power I have is enough to put these guys out. I don't know if it's one of the hardest hits, but it's hard enough.
So speaking of punching people hard, you've faced one of the hardest punchers in the welterweight division, Mike Perry. Who do you think hits harder between yourself, and Mike Perry?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, especially because both of us can take really well damage. So I can assure you, he hit me really hard, and he does hit hard. It's one of the hardest hitters. I would say it's the guy that hit me the hardest that I felt like pain when he hit me, especially in the top of the head. It would kind of like, it was like a bat hitting me. So definitely he hits really hard. But I was able to take it, and same way the other way around. I hit him hard as I could, and he could take it. So I think we were pretty well matched in the hitting department and also in the chin department.
So when your fighting style is like you're always your hands are always high like this, and you when you're pinned up against the cage against your fighters, when your opponents are pouring on you, even when your hands are up high, does it hurt when they pour on you?
Usually when I am able to block, I like to use a lot of my open hands because I feel like it covers more space. So when I'm able to block, I don't feel that much. Sometimes a shot will get through, especially because with small gloves, I cannot cover up so well. So something will get through the side or something like that. Sometimes it does connect, and I might feel a little bit, but it's something that I don't really mind that much. I've been doing this for so long, I'm kind of used to it. I've been doing this since I started professionally when I was 17 in MMA. So for me, it's just natural. It doesn't bother me at all to get punched. I realize that it's not so good for me, so I try to not get punched that much. But whenever I'm hit, I'm just like, I'm going to hit this guy through 2 or 3 times back. So I make sure that, I'm ahead on the scorecard, and I'm hurting him and damaging him more than he's damaging me.
Okay, interesting. Now you're a very well-rounded fighter. You can knock people out. You can submit people. You can win by decision. You have cardio. You have iron chin. But when you evaluate yourself critically, is there any part in your game that you think I got to work on this? I got to work on this aspect of my game.
Yeah, I think that, considering all my fights, and especially my losses in the beginning of my career, they were always against wrestlers, grappling against wrestlers, especially when they are able to stall. So put me in the cage or maybe take me down and just tie me up there and don't give me much space so that I can put on a submission. And that's something that I've been working on a lot because in my view, I think that if I were going to beat myself, I would try to just wrestle me and not do much, not let me fight. Because whenever I'm able to fight, be it on the ground or on the stand-up, I'm going to, usually find something that I can hurt my opponent with. So if they're able to stall, kind of that wrestling style, just put me down and hold me down, I would say that would be the best way. But at the same time, that's what I've been training the most now. I have a Cuban coach over here, wrestling coach, and I've been working with him so much just to really get my wrestling to that other level. Whenever I'm in Florida at Sanford, I like to work with the best wrestlers over there to make sure that whenever it's fight time, I'm ready. Even my weak point is going to be strong. And so I think that I'm working to not have weak points anymore.
Okay. So this could be an obvious question, but do you get nervous before fights? I ask because most fighters say they get scared before fights, but there are some fighters who say they get excited or relaxed before fights. So I was wondering, what kind of emotions do you get before fights?
It's a little bit of a mix. I'm never scared before a fight because for me, I don't know, I enjoy fighting so much. It's really something I have a lot of fun doing, so I'm not scared. But definitely, I do get nervous about if I think too much about the outcome because I really want to win fights. That's something we want to do because we want to get to the title. So if I focus too much on winning, that's when I would get nervous. So I just focus on performing, going out there and doing what I train, having fun, and you know, do exactly what I do is have fun in a fight. Just put on a good show for all the fans. That's something that motivates me a lot. Make sure that I'm putting on the kind of fight that people want to watch. And whenever I think like that, whenever I have that mindset, it's really just another day where I'm having fun.
Okay, interesting. In recent years, you've won almost all your fights, but you did lose to Leon Edwards and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who are two of the highest ranked welterweights. And what went wrong in those two fights, and what kind of adjustments did you make after those two losses?
I would say that strategically, in both of the fights, I kind of came out a little bit of my game plan, and that was something I started focusing a lot, especially after Thompson. It's just the experience. I feel like Thompson is a guy that he has fought so long. He knows how to you know, take the fight. If it's not going well on his side, he knows how to bring the fight towards his strategy. And I felt like when we fought, I felt good in the first round. And I thought, you know, I was kind of being patient. You got to be patient with a guy like Thompson. But whenever I pinned him in the cage and I was able to hit him in the first round, that kind of changed my mindset. And I thought, hey, maybe I can knock this guy out. And then I became too aggressive. And that's what Thompson was waiting for, you know, that kind of aggression where he can start counterattacking. And I felt like that was the moment the fight started shifting. I started, you know, really not finding my space in there. So I feel like strategy is something that I have to focus on a lot. I think it makes, especially when you fight at this level against guys like Leon Edwards, like Thompson, we're all good. We're all really skilled in everything, be it on the striking, on the ground, cardio-wise. We're really well matched. So the strategy and the intelligence, the fight IQ at the moment of the fight is going to make a big difference. And that's what I've been working on a lot. And I think also, like, I'm 28 years old. I'm still young, so I'm growing as a fighter. I'm starting to learn a little bit more about this experience. And I feel like I'm starting to get, you know, to the level I want to be to face this top competition.
Okay, so well, I'm not a professional fighter, but as a fan who's been watching UFC for over like 5 or 6 years, when I think about Stephen Thompson, if I'm fighting him, I think one of the most important thing is to kick his legs, so have a impact on his movement. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree. That's something I did try a lot in the first round in our fight, and it's something that, you know, you got to take that movement away because the way he moves, it's hard to hit him and it's extremely hard to get him down, like to take him down. In the fight, a lot of people after the fight asked me, hey, why didn't you take him down? I couldn't really see the timing to take him down. He moved so well, it was hard. And I started off with the kicks, but I think he was ready for that. So I believe in the second or in the third, he countered me after a kick and he dropped me because of the kick. So I think it's a really technical fight. I would love to fight him again because it's the kind of challenge I enjoy. After that, he exposed so many little details in my game that I felt like, yeah, I gotta, you know, start developing my striking much more. Because before that, I felt like, hey, my striking is pretty good in the division. I feel like I can face anyone standing. Once I faced him, I was like, man, this guy's really good. I still think I have what it takes to beat him, and I think I can become even better. But at that day, he just showed me a lot. You know, he definitely showed me that he was in another level that night. So I was like, yeah, I still have a lot to improve. So definitely, I think that kicking would be a great weapon to use against him. If I fight him again, I would use it, but we got a setup. The setup is the big thing because he's also expecting it. He knows that people want to kick his legs, so he has different weapons to defend against that.
Okay. So Stephen Thompson is one of the nicest guys in the welterweight division, but there are a lot of guys who talk a lot of trash. So is there any fighter in the welterweight division that you have bad blood with?
No, man, I don't have bad blood with anyone. That's something that is just not in me, especially because I have fun in this sport, and I'm not the kind of guy that if I'm going to fight someone, even if he beats me, I'm not going to be mad at him because it's I don't know. I have fun in there, you know. He's putting his body on the line. I'm putting my body on the line. He's going to try to hit me hard. I'm going to try to hit him harder. So it's not the kind of thing that I take it personally. If somebody drops me or hurts me, it's just what we do. It's just business, and I'm trying to do the same thing to the other guy. So and not because I hate him, just because I love doing this. So it's hard for me. Bad blood is something really hard to develop because I'm just cool. You know, I'm just fine with everything. I just want to go in there and have fun.
Then let's say maybe in the future you get scheduled to fight guys like Colby Covington. Do you think you'd be still cool with him?
I think so. You know, even we never know when it happens, but like if I imagine about it, I don't know. I definitely think he would try to get into my head. He would try to talk shit about me, maybe my family, maybe my team. But it's things that I don't take him seriously. Even when I see him building up fights against other guys, you know, I just don't take that seriously because in my mind he's trying to get an edge, an advantage in the fight, and I'm not trying to give him that advantage, you know. So if we're gonna fight, for me, all that matters is fight night. I'm gonna get to hit you. I'm gonna get to hurt you. So that's fine with me. I have no problems with that. We'll solve whatever thing we gotta solve inside the cage in those 15 or 25 minutes, and after that, I'm all good. Before that, I'm all good as well.
Okay, interesting. So, if everything works out perfect, like you win all your fights from now on, how long do you think it will take for you to get a title shot?
It's hard to say, but you know, I don't know. The right fights against big names, if I go out there and dominate these guys in the ideal way, I would say maybe 3 fights, 4 fights. I think that would be realistic. I'm number 10 right now. If I get good fights, 3 to 4 fights. But obviously, I mean, if I am able to get like a big name, maybe Nate Diaz or somebody like that, I think I could jump a lot. So it all depends on who I get to fight from now on.
So speaking of rankings, when you look at the rankings, is there a fighter that you think, man, I can't believe that guy is ranked above me?
Above me, I don't know. I don't think so because Chiesa would be a guy that he fought very little in this division. So I'm not sure if he should be ranked that high just because he doesn't have so many fights. But at the same time, he beat Rafael, who was a top guy at the moment when he beat him. So he's still a guy up there. So I don't know. Overall, I think that everybody is well ranked up there. I think Nate Diaz, in the past, he was ranked above. That would be a guy that he hasn't fought enough to be ranked so high. But now he has dropped a little bit, so I think it makes sense. But overall, I think, yeah, the rankings make sense. It's a lot of guys that have a lot of name, have done a lot in the division, and other guys that are growing and doing a lot of it right now. So I think it makes sense how it's built.
Okay, so you have a very close friend and a training partner, Gilbert Burns. And how important is it for you to have fighters like him as a friend and training partner?
But it's really good, especially being from the same division. I think that kind of fuels us to, whenever I beat a guy or he beats a guy, we kind of feel like, yeah, we're at that level. Be it like when he beat Damian or when I beat the guys I beat. You know, we kind of can level each other because we train with each other. We know what level we are in. So we kind of see, like, I saw him beating Damian. I saw him beating Woodley. I'm like, man, these guys are tough. Gilbert is a tough dude because I trained with him. They fought. He did super well. I'm on the right path, you know. So we kind of get that kind of confidence. And at the same time, I love having him in my corner, for example, because I think like we know so much about each other's game. Whenever Gilbert sees an opportunity that I could take, he tells me, and I can see it right away. Like the knee that I landed in Randy, I was when I clinched him, I was looking for a Dars or a guillotine, but I knew that there was little time left. And then I started hearing Gilbert. He was screaming knee, knee, knee. So I boom took the knee. So it's the kind of things that when we're active fighters and we're cornering, we can see that really quickly, especially when we know the guy we train with and we know so well the game.
So you mentioned Woodley when you were answering the question. So a lot of people are saying that Woodley is on a 2-fight losing streak, and some people are saying that Usman was just because Usman was better and your friend Gilbert was better. But there are a lot of people who also say that Woodley isn't the same anymore. What do you think? What's your thoughts on Woodley?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say if he's not the same anymore. Definitely, the years. I mean, they change people for the best or for the worst. So I cannot say much because, I'm not close to him, so I don't know the way he's feeling in training, how he's looking in training. But at the same time, I know Gilbert and I know Kamaru. I've trained a lot with Kamaru, so I know that their level is really high. They're really great fighters overall. Like every single aspect of the game, cardio-wise, they're both like really good. So I don't think it was so much that Woodley wasn't the same anymore. I think it was more of the props to Gilbert and to Kamaru for really going out there, putting a great strategy, putting a high pace, which not many people can put the kind of pace Gilbert and Kamaru put on Woodley. So I think it was more of their merits than Woodley not being that good anymore.
Okay, so now I know you're very very close friends with both Usman and Gilbert Burns, but could you give us your prediction for Usman versus Burns?
Man, in my mind, I think it's a tough fight, really, really good fight. They're matched up really well. But I do give the edge to Gilbert just because, by seeing him training, by knowing his style, it's a really different style, especially for wrestlers to face, because Gilbert is not the kind of guy, once you put him down, he's just going to stay there. And he's not only going to be trying to get up. He's going to be trying to get up, trying to take, your back, trying to put on arm bars or triangle chokes. So it's really hard to keep him on the ground and to be comfortable on the ground to throw ground and pound. And I think that's something that he brings, different against Kamaru. Wrestling-wise, I believe Kamaru has a little bit of an edge there, but Gilbert has been working a lot also in wrestling. So I think that, he can block a lot of the takedowns by Kamaru. Striking is where I would say that they're pretty evenly matched, but different styles. Kamaru is more of a, let's say, he takes his time, he speaks, he shots, and Gilbert is explosive. So he'll go out there and throw really fast combinations, full power, and he can do that through 5 rounds with no problem. So I think Gilbert does bring a different game, and I think that might give him the edge to take this win. But definitely, it's a hard fight. I let Kamaru know I'm going to be helping Gilbert for this fight. If I have the opportunity, I will be in Gilbert's corner. But there's no bad blood in there. We're all good with this. After everything is said and done, we're all going to be friends again. No problem.
So I talked to Gilbert recently, and he mentioned in the interview that if he becomes the welterweight champion, and if you become like the number 1 contender and you're scheduled to fight for a title, he said he would vacate the welterweight title and move down to lightweight and fight and face the lightweight champion. Have you two guys have discussed about that?
Yeah, that's something we've talked about a lot, and we're really close in much more than just training partners. We're like brothers. Our families are friends. We have a great relation. So it's not a fight that can happen. It's not a fight where nor me nor him would feel good having that kind of fight. So we always, joked about whoever gets the title first, when the next one gets there, we're going to have to, move up or move down. So we're going to make it work. I hope he gets the title and he keeps it until I get there. That's what I wish. And when I get there, he'll go down or go up, and then I'll get that title, and we'll work things out for sure. But we're not fighting.
Okay. So there are big fights coming up on Saturday. UFC 252, Miocic versus Cormier 3. Do you have a prediction for that fight?
It's a great fight, especially considering how the second fight went. I think that if I watch both fights, I would say DC is the guy that's going to win the third one, just because I felt like DC was dominating the second fight until he got knocked out. But Miocic is the guy that you can't count out. He has a chin. He has great boxing. He can, he has heart to be in there. So I do give the edge to Daniel Cormier. I think he's more of a complete fighter. He can box. He can wrestle. He has cardio, to go 5 rounds, all full throttle. So I would give him the edge, but I would not count out Miocic.
The way I see that fight is, at first I thought Cormier was going to win, and then recently I changed my mind, and I'm thinking Miocic might win because Miocic found a way to knock him out. So he threw left hooks to the body multiple times and then knocked him out with a right hand. So when I think about the third fight, I'm thinking DC has to be worried about both the shots to the body and both the shots to the head. So I think it will be very hard for DC to win.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge for sure, especially once you get knocked out the way DC did, having a great fight and then everything got took away from him. I think it's hard to come back, but he's a great champion. He has been, at the highest level of competition, even before MMA when he was competing wrestling. So I think it's a tough fight for both. I wouldn't say that, it's I don't know. I cannot say 100% who I think is going to win. I still think, DC has that edge just because of all he can change. Even though he's going to have to worry with the hands, he can still go in there and just decide to wrestle. And I think he would have a great fight against, Miocic if he goes for the wrestling side of things. So we'll see. But it's a great fight. I'm going to be watching for sure.
So another big fight in UFC 252 is Junior Dos Santos versus Rosenstrike. Do you have a prediction for the fight also?
That's a tough fight, man. I love Junior Dos Santos. I've always watched him a lot since the beginning of his career. But at this moment, I would say that Rosenstrike is at the better moment. He's a really heavy hitter. He's not afraid of just going in there and trying to connect. Even a guy against Francis Ngannou, you saw that he was not afraid. He just went there. It didn't work out for him, but he was still, in there to go all in. So I think at this moment, I think he's gonna get a win. Might be probably a knockout win, but it's gonna be a good fight to watch.
So when I see Junior Dos Santos, I think in his prime, he was a total monster. But he's still a monster, but I think the wars that he had to go through with Kane and all the knockouts that he suffered, I think it had an impact on his chin. So when you look at guys like Junior Dos Santos, do you worry about all the damage you'll take in fights?
I don't know, man. That's not something I worry so much. I do try to minimize it as much as I can. But once we're fighting, I don't think that we could go halfway. We just got to go all in. We got to, be willing to put on the sacrifice. So that's the kind of trade we do to achieve, greatness in fighting, greatness in sport. I think every sport is like that. Each sport has different sacrifices. Fighting, has this kind of sacrifice, which if I can avoid, if I can have fights where I'm not hit and I only hit my opponent, I will try to do that. But if I get guys like Perry, like Barberina, that are guys that come in and don't give up, Nico Price, that just can take everything and hit me back with it, I'm just going to have to do the sacrifice and go all in. And, overall, I think that it's something when we get older, yeah, we definitely might start to watch. If I'm getting up there and I don't feel like I'm the same, I feel like it's not working out for me anymore, I might rethink all of this. But for now, it's not something I focus so much on.
Okay, interesting. Before I let you go, to Vicente, is there anything you would like to say to your Korean fans?
Thank everyone for the support. I think that, definitely fans are what most motivate me to fight. I love to please everybody that is watching. I love to put on a great show. So whenever I get your guys' support from me is great, and thank you for supporting me. And I'm gonna keep putting on great shows for you guys.
So thank you, Vicente, so much for the interview. I can't thank you enough, and it was such an honor to get to talk with a world-class fighter. And good luck in your next fight, and have a wonderful day. It's still morning in Florida, right?
Yeah. I'm in Brazil right now, but it's
Oh,
morning.
Brazil.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
but same time.
Yeah, same time. Yeah.
Okay. So have a wonderful day, and take care.
Thank you. I appreciate it for the invitation. Take care.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. No, man, I don't have bad blood with anyone.
I don't know. I don't think he's an easy fight right there. He's a bunch of killers.
Well, amazing feeling,